A very good morning and welcome to Breakfast News on Channel 1 MTV. We start off with a look at the headlines. 400,000 locations identified as sites conducive for the breeding of mosquitoes to be re-inspected. Ratmalan Training Center of the Foreign Employment Bureau temporarily closed after a group was hospitalized with food poisoning. The Greek Parliament votes in favor of austerity measures. Now for those stories in detail, Cabinet approval has been granted to the appointment of Acting IGP N.K. Ilangakon as new Inspector General of Police. Director General of the Government Information Department, Professor R. Ratna Athugala, said that approval for this was granted at the Cabinet meeting held last night. N.K. Ilangakon, who joined the police service in the year 1982 as an Assistant Superintendent of Police, completed his preliminary education at the Udagama Vidyalaya in Balangoda. Ilangakon went on to obtain a special Bachelor of Education degree from the University of Colombo. Since the decision of former IGP Dr. Mahinda Balasurya to retire, N.K. Ilangakon served in the capacity of acting IGP. Prior to this, he held the post of Senior DIG in charge of administration. Well, Minister of Health Maithripala Sirisena has issued instructions to re-inspect nearly 400,000 locations identified during the National Mosquito Prevention Week as sites conducive for the breeding of mosquitoes. Accordingly, 379,908 locations will be subjected to inspection once again. The Ministry of Health noted that these locations are spread out over 305 medical health officers' divisions. The Minister's instructions include taking legal actions against the proprietors of land who continues to maintain environments conducive for the breeding of mosquitoes. Well, after a group was hospitalized with food poisoning, the Ratmalan Training Center of the Sri Lanka Foreign Employment Bureau has been temporarily closed. Chairman of the Foreign Employment Bureau, Kingsley Ranawaka, said that this decision was taken as a precautionary measure.
30 female trainees at the Ratmalana Training Center of the Sri Lanka Foreign Employment Bureau were hospitalized yesterday with food poisoning. Director of the Colombo South Teaching Hospital, Dr. Anil Jasinghe, said that these women were suffering from diarrhea.
A function was held in Baniklo yesterday to commence renovation work on the Miyangulla Kulama tank and to donate 500 water pumps to farming families. The chief guest at this function was the Minister of Economic Development, Basil Rajapaksa.
Around 4,000 families will benefit from the Miyangulla Kulama tank being renovated. A group including the Deputy Minister of Economic Development, Vinayagamurthy Muralidharan, and the Chief Minister of the Eastern Province, Sivanesathure Chandrakantan, were also present at the occasion.
The children of most of these leaders who are talking now are not here. They are abroad. They don't have any problems. They don't earn in rupees and cents. They earn in dollars and euros. When you all were helpless, they didn't even distribute a water bottle. I wish you all the best of luck. What the President wants to do is to uplift your lives. If you need anything or if there are any shortcomings, our officials are there. Our ministers are there. Please tell us. We will grant them.
තමුන්නාන්සේලාගේ ජීවිකාව නගා හිටවන්න තමුන්නාන්සේලාට අවශ්‍ය දේ තියෙනවා නම් අඩුපාඩුවක් තියෙනවා නම් අපේ නිලධාරී ඉන්නවා අපේ මැති ඇමතිවරු ඉන්නවා කරුණාකරලා කියන්න අපි ඒවා ඉෂ්ට කරන්නම්.
Still in local news, election observers say that there is an increased tendency of passenger transport buses being used for illegal election propaganda activities. Kirti Tenakon, the executive director of the Campaign for a Free and Fair Election, or CAFE, an elections monitoring body, said in addition to private buses, Sri Lanka Transport Board buses are being used for this purpose as well.
As the election day is coming closer, we see so much of illegal propaganda activities are taking place throughout the country, and especially the illegal propaganda activities related to the posters is a main concern, and the public transportation services, including the private-owned vehicles, is illegally used to carry out the election propaganda activities. So much of stickers and posters are displayed on these vehicles, and using these illegal propaganda mechanism on the public transportation is totally illegal, and there must be a proper mechanism to minimize these illegal propaganda activities to address the main concerns related to the propaganda mechanism during the election time.
Meanwhile, National Coordinator of the National Polls Observation Centre, Attorney at Law Rasanga Harishchandra, also commented on this issue. He stated that there has been an increase in illegal propaganda activities over the last few days, with the preferential numbers being displayed on both private and SLTB buses. He noted that the Minister of Transport and the Minister of Private Transport Services have been advised to take steps to remove such posters and stickers on buses. Well, watermelon is a delicious fruit that is cultivated primarily in Sri Lanka's dry zones. Even though watermelon cultivations in the Velas area thrive, farmers lament that they do not receive a good price for their produce. Watermelon cultivations in the Bibila area in Mundragala have yielded a very good harvest this time around. These cultivations in the Madulla, Simbalandua, Thanamalvila, Hambayegamuwa and Madhakama Divisional Secretariats span across an area of thousands of acres. But the farmers complain they cannot be satisfied with the income it generates when compared to the effort they put into their cultivations. We will bring you a detailed report on this story on our lunchtime news. The Meteorological Department states that showers can be expected in several areas, including the western Sabaragamu and central provinces and in the Galle and Mathura districts today. Duty forecaster at the Met Department, Chamanda De Silva, elaborated further.
Today there will be showers at several places in the western, Sabaragamu and central provinces and also in Galle and Mathura districts. And fairly strong winds are likely along the western slope of the central hills. Weather forecast for sea areas, there will be showers at several places in the sea areas around the island. Winds will be from northwesterly or westerly direction and the speed will be 20 to 40 kilometers per hour. But the speed may increase up to 50 kilometers per hour at times in the western, southern, southeastern and also Gulf of Manassi areas. Therefore, western, southern, southeastern and Gulf of Manassi areas will be rough at times.
Well, taking a look at one of the headline-making stories in the international arena, the Greek Parliament voted in favour of a drastic package of austerity measures intended to save the country from defaulting on its debts. The proposed tax hikes and spending cuts have been deeply unpopular with the Greek public. A nationwide 48-hour strike is underway and the violent clashes are continuing in the streets of the capital Athens. The EU welcomed the bill's passage by 155 votes to 138 as a vote of national responsibility. Greece is heavily in debt and the package is needed to win the latest of a €110 billion loan from the EU and IMF. Parliament will hold a second vote today aimed at reforming laws to allow the package to be implemented. Once news that the vote had passed trickled out onto the streets of Athens, fighting broke out with a new level of brutality. The riot police engaged in a behavior that would never be tolerated in other parts of Europe. The outside Parliament was thick with plumes of tear gas and smoke as clashes continued in the square between masked protesters armed with rocks and sticks and riot police firing tear gas and stun grenades. Dozens of police and protesters were injured in the violence. The French military confirmed that France has air-dropped weapons to rebels fighting Colonel Muammar Gaddafi's troops in western Libya. Reports reveal that light arms and ammunition was sent to Berber tribal fighters in the Nausa Mountains in early June. Earlier, a report in a newspaper said that the arms included rocket launchers and anti-tank missiles. France, a leading force in the NATO operation in Libya, did not inform its allies about the move. The decision to drop arms to the Libyan rebels was reportedly taken following a meeting in mid-April between French President Nicolas Sarkozy and the Chief of Staff of the Libyan rebels. France is said to have been concerned at the stalemate in a conflict between the rebels and pro-Gaddafi forces that started in February. Local media reports say that 40 tons of weapons were sent to western Libya, including a few light tanks that were smuggled in across the Tunisian border.